Hello YouTube. So today we're going to be going over the Thunder Dragon deck. So one thing you should notice about this, it's not fully optimized to go play in a meta game or something like that. It doesn't really have forbidden droplets or kaijus or anything like that. But I'll talk about that in a minute. So moving on with it, we play 3 Roar, 3 of the original, 3 Dark, 3 Solar, 3 Vegeta, I can really pronounce that, 2 Lupine, 3 Allure, 1 Instant, and 3 Ready, 1 Gold Sarcophagus, and then 3 Chaos Space, 1 Duo, 1 Hawk, 1 Collapse Serpent, 1 Wyvern Burster, 3 Matrix, 2 Fusion, and 3 Prosperity. That's it for the main deck. For the extra, we have 3 Titan, 1 Kaminari, 1 Underworld Goddess, 1 Boral Sword, 1 Abomination, Appaloosa, Blackluster Soldier, Ningirsu, Unicorn, Phoenix, and Cerberus, along with IP Masquerena and Link Spider. You have to play a very different game compared to when you had Verte Anaconda and Colossus, because you're not really able to search as many cards. So you really need to search at Thunder Dragon Fusion with your Dark. You can't really search any other card. So you play as many cards as you can to facilitate getting to your other cards. So like Battery Solar, Aloof Lupine, Allure, draw cards, all these kind of cards, and you max out on Matrix because you want to be able to see it as consistently as possible so that you don't have to search it with your Dark. Yeah, that's kind of one of the interesting things with the deck now. It's much harder to play without the Verte, of course. So we play 3 of all of these because they are the main cards you want to see in your hand. You always want to see them with other cards, but you want to see one of them. One of them, maybe 2, in every single hand. So they're really good because they help you to just go through your deck and assemble your board. They're very strong. Yeah. After that, so Solar is a very interesting card because it's kind of a Thunder Dragon, and it's kind of not. It's interesting because you look at this card, and it sends a Thunder Dragon monster from your deck to your grave, which essentially does help fulfill the role of getting you a Thunder Dragon monster, but at the same time, it's not exactly the same because it doesn't really have an effect when it itself is banished. So your opponent can stop it from activating its effects, that kind of stuff. So it's a very interesting card. It's not completely, it's not exactly one of these 3. After that, we play Vegeta. Vegeta is a very interesting tech card. I kind of put it under the category of helping you banish your Thunder monsters, which seems weird. Though you can also put it under the category of Extender. And the reason I put it under here is because you can actually, interestingly enough, you can tribute over it to someone like your Roar or something like that. And that doesn't sound very good, and it's not always going to be that very good. But at worst, it's an extender or at best, it's an extender that helps you to bounce your opponent's cards. At worst, it's discard material for Chaos Space or Allure or something like that. And it's or Nightmares. And it's still a very good card because you can't actually tribute your Thunder Dragon monsters for it. Just to normal tribute summon them, which can be good if you want to proc their effects for a Link summon, or to go into battle or something like that. Yeah, so it seems weird, and it kind of is, but at the same time, it can be a very powerful card. Aloof Lupine is your 5th normal summon. If I would suggest taking this out if you want to play more defensive cards, but it's still a very solid card. Allows you to banish your Thunder monsters. 3 Allure, because you play a lot of Dark monsters, and you really want to see specific cards in the deck. You really want to see your Roar, your Darks, and just all your Thunder, as many Thunder monsters as you can see, because it's a pure build essentially, and so you just need to see your Thunder monsters. Instant and Ready are very powerful cards in this deck. They are really good because they allow you to turbo into Titan without even having to use Fusion. They allow you to banish your Thunder monsters. It does so much for the deck. It's actually crazy. I don't really actually need to explain too much more about that because it's just, I don't know, it feels kind of staple in a Thunder Dragon deck at this point. Goldsark is another staple. You just banish your Thunder monsters. It's just so good, so powerful. Chaos Space to get you to your Collapse Serpent and Wyvern Burster, and it will help you make your Link plays. Very powerful card. Duo is typically for turn 2 and 3 in your follow-up and OTKs, searching your Thunder monsters. It's a really good card. You could probably take it out for defensive cards. I really like it. Some people don't. It's just a matter of opinion. So Hawk, you can actually also play it like higher copies, and I would definitely experiment with this card more. I just don't really have, like, this is kind of a standard build. I just didn't really want to, use any more space to make, something else, to do something else, I guess. It's a cool card. It's definitely a very powerful card. Collapse Serpent and Wyvern Burster are for your Chaos Space Engine, and they work fine on them by themselves to proc your Thunder Dragon effects and that kind of stuff. They're very interesting cards, very good cards. Triple Matrix, most people play 2, and in truth, I probably would be as well, but I really like this card, and in a pure build, I'm fine with playing more than 2 copies, along with the fact that, like, it kind of plays the role of one of these cards where it does activate when it's banished, so it does get you other resources, and along with that, it is, you really want to see it, because then you can trigger your Titan on your opponent's turn. The game that this deck plays is to essentially have as many Thunder Dragon cards you can, to pop your opponent's cards, right? So like on turns 2 and 3, when you're trying to break your opponent's board, you're gonna try to you want to have as many Thunder Dragon cards in your hand as you can to be able to activate their effects in hand to keep recycling your resources and popping their cards with Titan. It's a very strong, very good grind game, and Matrix helps you to fulfill that kind of win condition. Fusion is very powerful because it's it just recycles your resources, and then you can add any Thunder monster from your deck to your hand on the follow up. So it is definitely very powerful. This card single-handedly makes this deck's grind game just so much better, like on a completely different level from what it normally is. Then of course you have Pot of Prosperity, which is going to be your kind of consistency card. So going over the deck one more time, we have these three cards. These are for, you want to banish them, so they're the cards that you always want to see in your hand, at least one of them, to be able to banish them. You play Solar, which is kind of a mix between it helps you to banish your Thunder monsters, but at the same time it's also like a Thunder monster itself. It's in a weird position. Vishuda, Lupine, Allure, Instant Ready, Goldsark, and Chaos Space, they're all bit cards that help you to banish your Thunder monsters. And then, of course, these are extenders down to Thunder Dragon Fusion, and you have a Pot of Prosperity, which is going to be your consistency card. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Moving on to the extra deck, this is pretty standard. 3 Titan. I think if you can fit the 3rd in your extra deck, it's like really, really nice to have it, because it just helps you with your grind game that much more. When you're playing a Thunder deck and you're using all of these Thunder effects in one turn, and you can go and you can Fusion Summon into a Titan without having to use another Titan, it helps your grind game that much more. So the 3rd Titan, well, it's definitely not necessary. It's definitely a nice thing to have if you can fit it in there. Commentary attack, you can actually play more copies of this because you are playing instant and ready fusion. So you have 4 copies in the deck, so you don't really want to brick on it. But it's typically it's okay. So yeah, just don't brick, of course. Underworld Goddess, this helps you. This is another board breaking card. One thing you'll notice with this deck specifically is it can set up very powerful boards, but mostly you're using this deck to break your opponent's board. And that's like it's very good at that. It can't deal with full power Drytron that well, but like you know, when it had Ben 10 and all of those cards. But if you're going up against like grind game decks, this has a very strong grind game. And it's actually crazy. Beating BA with it, it's, you know, beating Drytron before with it. It's pretty crazy. And Underworld Goddess helps you to break your opponent's boards with that. It's a pretty good card. I won't say it's the best. I won't say like it's absolutely necessary, but it is definitely a good card to have. Boral Sword, OTKing. This card actually can help you get over the Ignister boss, which is pretty cool if you have Titan on the field as well. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Unchained Abomination is, I typically use this. I use IP to go into this because that way you can have up to like, I think it's like 5 pops. Not with this card in particular, but you can have 1 pop with Titan, and then you can have like 3 with Abomination, and theoretically, if you have both Dark and Matrix in your hand, you can pop your opponent's field 5 times. That doesn't happen very often at all, but typically you'll get like, I don't know, 2 or 3. So it's a very strong card. The other option is Appaloosa, and you typically use this for like Drytron matchups or matchups that just spam, you know, monsters and just, you know, have so many effects going off. Yeah, that's why Appaloosa is there. I never really used this card, in truth, and the idea behind this card is that it's just an extra slot in the deck because I don't really know what to put in here. Because the extra deck is actually it's pretty. There's quite a bit of room actually. And Gear 2 is another one of those cards that I was just like, I don't really know what else to put in here. And it sends cards to the graveyard instead of actually, you know, like popping them. So it's just another form of removal, you know. And then you have your Nightmares for generic removal, along with IP Masquerena for just being able to link off during your opponent's turn. You can link off and make Underworld Goddess during your opponent's turn, which is pretty cool. I typically make Abomination, and sometimes, occasionally, I'll make Appaloosa. And then Link Spider is for like your Nibiru, if you get Nibiru, or like Battery Mansolar or something like that. Yeah, it's a really fun deck. If you have the opportunity of playing this deck, I would definitely recommend it. It is, you can play like Thunder Dragon in so many different ways. This is just one of them. I typically play it with the mutants, as weird as it sounds, because the mutants are like very consistent. So yeah, it's a very fun deck. If you have the opportunity of playing this again, I would definitely recommend it. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.